If you're heading to the movies this weekend, you might want to check out Back to Black. It's the story of the great Amy Winehouse, the British music icon whose sudden death really shocked the world.
That's right. And so Focus Features flew me to LA to meet the star and director, and their work will give you a whole new perspective on Amy. Watch this.
I want people to hear my voice. And just forget their troubles for 5 minutes.
Do you know what girl power means to me? Sarah Vaughan, Lauryn Hill. You need to know this. I ain't no Spice Girl.
You do such an incredible job. You don't just play an icon, right? You have to play the human.
Yeah.
What did you learn about Amy that you were really hoping to convey to people?
I think the most important thing to me that felt so much like Amy that would permeate the screen and make people be like, oh yeah, that's how I remember feeling about her, is an intensity. And whatever it is that she's feeling or thinking or doing, if that's joy and humor and laughter and singing, then it's intense. You know, it's always like at a level 10. And if it's pain and it's heartbreak and it's loss, it's also that level of intensity.
I don't bang out 10 hits by lunch. I need to live my songs. So that's what I'm going to go and do.
That intensity helps remind audiences, although a victim of addiction and of her time, I think, in a culture that sort of demanded too much of her, Amy was not a victim. She was an incredibly powerful woman and artist.
The highest charting album from a British female artist in the US ever.
The intensity, Sam, also in her love for her family. How did you kind of convey the relationship between her grandmother and her father with her, and why was that so important to the story beyond her music?
I think it was just really important in telling and making this movie that we understood the complexities of her life and the relationships that she had and who she loved and who were her influences, and her grandmother being a big influence on her love of jazz music and her style and you know, and the family around her and, you know, who guided her and, you know, all of those things. And I felt like the important thing was to sort of almost respond to the fact that, you know, her life had been so sort of picked over, and we'd gotten to a place where, you know, everybody who really truly held her and her music dear, when somebody like that is gone, you start to think who's to blame and what happened. And I felt like I had to sort of go back to her and her music and not villainize or judge, but just to sort of see who she loved and how she wrote about that love, because through that love we're gifted one of the greatest albums of all time, you know, Back to Black.
Black.